Cities are the laboratory of humanity. We learn, I think, by living in cities, that we are not the center of the universe, that there are other people whose lives are just as important to them as yours is to you. And I think to live successfully in a large city, you have to learn or adapt to or just embrace a spirit of tolerance. And then that becomes a democratic act. I think the large city is, in a sense, for democracy. And that's why it's so bizarre to see cities that are under totalitarian rule. They're not alive. They're dead. People walk around afraid, and there's no spontaneity there. But if you're in a free society and you're in a big city, anything can happen at any time, and it's very exciting. And I think that's why I like living in big cities, because I like being immersed in this teeming humanity around me. I want to say something about noir literature first. I'm not deeply inspired by this, because the fact is, the New York trilogy, this is why people talk about this. Now, you know, those books were written 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago. And they simulate noir, but they're not at all. It looks like a detective story, but it's not. None of them is really a detective story. They are philosophical novels within a framework that resembles a certain kind of type of fiction. In the same way that Don Quixote is a book that mimics romances, in the same way that Waiting for Godot imitates vaudeville comedy. But Cervantes is not doing that, and Beckett is not doing that either, nor am I doing that. So I think we should put to rest this whole idea that I'm a noir writer, because it simply isn't true. I've written 17 novels now, and I've written and made 4 movies. So that would be 21 imaginary stories of a certain length, right? Each one is imaginary. They're not autobiographical. And yet, everything I know about humanity, everything I know is from my own experience. And it's not that I'm necessarily taking people from my own life and putting them in my books. But if I have known someone, say, who has a certain kind of personal characteristic, a certain kind of selfishness, for example, and I'm exposed to this, and I see how mean that person is, well, it can help me in thinking about an imaginary character with some of those qualities, even though I'm not representing the person I know. And that's just one example out of thousands and thousands I could give. So really, it all comes out of your own life, and yet it's imaginary at the same time.